Hi, Nigel here with the Drivewire, and this is the Subaru Ascent Onyx edition, new for 2022. And it spices up this particular model in the range by adding some extra stuff. This blacked out grille, black window trim, black mirror caps. The vehicle also rolls on these 20-inch wheels that are treated to, yep, you guessed it, a black finish. So the Onyx comes standard with a powered hands-free liftgate, rear automated emergency braking, and a heated steering wheel. It also has a couple of options checked, which include navigation and a panoramic sunroof to top off the list. This one comes in at $41,320, and today I am going to test this. We're going to take it off-road, we're going to do it on-road. I'm going to show you all the bells and whistles on this car. I'm going to tell you exactly how this car does. So the Ascent sits on the company's global platform. It's been a little bit stretched to allow for a third row of seats and some additional cargo space. There's nothing really to love or hate about it. It does a really good job. It's got a little bit of pep from its engine, and it's pretty decent on its fuel consumption as well. Of course, when you look at it, it's really very much like a tall, slightly larger Outback, and it's about as inoffensive as a koala. And that, of course, is exactly what Subaru wants, together with the fact that it has 19 cup holders, which is as far as I know, a world record for the number of cup holders in any one vehicle. Under the hood, there's just one drivetrain offered. It's a 2.4-liter turbocharged boxer 4. It's pretty smooth, doesn't make too much noise. This engine cranks out a decent 260 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque, driven through a CVT that sort of pretends to be a conventional 8-speed auto. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So behind the third row, you get around 18 cubic feet of space. These seats will move forward a little bit to create a little bit more room if they're not as reclined as they were just then. Under here, you've got a little bit of additional storage space and then a luggage cover. Of course, you can make more room by basically putting these seats down. A couple of little straps to pull. Once you do that, you get about 47 cubic feet of space, and then in addition to that, you can throw the two captain's chairs down for around 86 cubic feet of space once everything is flat. So it's pretty practical. These are super easy to pull back up. You just basically pull on the longer of the two straps, set the seat. Same on this side. Done. Pretty easy. So the rear seats aren't too bad. Obviously, you get this multitude of cup holders. Headroom's a bit limited. It certainly is not anywhere near as spacious as an Atlas, which sort of falls into a similar category. And I wouldn't want to spend too long back here at all. There's a nice little grab handle here to help you out, and then the rear vents are in the roof, so they're nicely positioned out of the way to give you some cool air on a hot day like this. Second row is a lot more comfortable. Get nice little armrest on both sides here. Seats are really nice and comfortable. They've got this sort of vegan leather on these. You've got to go to the tippy top trim to get the leather. And then you have your air vents are right here, power and controlling your temperature, etc. for your HVAC. And then here's your two hidden little cup holders there, making your total 19. All right, so in the front seat, it is very much a Subaru. Really like the size of the steering wheel. It's not too big. I don't like these big hoopy steering wheels. The controls are in the right place. The leather feels nice in your hands. As I said, the seats, they are very comfortable at the front with nice bolstering, soft, cushiony, supportive. They do get a little bit hot in the heat. Today it's around 90 degrees, and it's a little warm inside the car because there are no cooled seats on this particular one. There's obviously two blank buttons there for them, but it doesn't have them. Everything else is pretty good. It's obviously well built and built to last, as every Subaru is. Subaru's center stack infotainment system is actually pretty good, if a little laggy at times. Now, I prefer the one in this car with the smaller screen. The one with the huge sort of tablet size screen, you have to drill into all the different functions more than in this one. I like the fact that there's a whole separate suite HVAC controls, so I do kind of like that. But it is quick to use. It works pretty well. You can go home, you can go directly to navigation. It's pretty quick to load. There are various different apps in here. It's super fast to go ahead and connect media. It also has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Everything's in it that you would need. Directly below that are your physical HVAC controls, and they're really easy to use. Below that, you've got sort of front and rear defrost. It's nice to see that Subaru has retained a more standard style of shifter. There's two of the cup holders that we spoke about earlier. You've got various different pieces of power right here. You've also got X mode. That changes some of the throttle mapping, etc. for off-roading, which we will do in a little bit. We'll press that button and we will see how this one goes. It's all very straightforward and pretty well designed. All right, so at this point, only one thing left to do. Let's take it for a drive, and I'm going to take a sort of a moderate truck trail first and test out the suspension and see how it goes. I have noticed on driving it for a couple of days that the steering is very light, which makes it really good for sort of these off-road bits that we're on right now. And it has the same ground clearance as the Outback, 8.7 inches. And this is a pretty, I would say it's not really potholed too much, but it does provide some insights into how comfortable the suspension is on a washboard surface, which is basically what it is coming up pretty soon. The throttle is pretty snappy. It seems very light, so it's sort of easy to just suddenly zoom forward, which is not really what you want when you're going over rocks. So hopefully X mode, when we get to that, will prevent us from surging forward and damaging the vehicle. So we are now on this dirt road, and you can hear the washboard surface here, but it's not bad. It feels pretty comfortable. This has got pretty decent acceleration. 0 to 60 is around 6.9 seconds. It's a little bit slower than the equivalent Outback, being a little bit heavier. It definitely feels nice and quick around town. Kind of zooms off the line at lights pretty decently, which has been causing me not to have the best fuel economy. I'm averaging around 17, but it should do a lot better than that on the highway. But I'm kind of impressed with the suspension. The dampers are soaking up most of this actually pretty well. Of course, all Subarus except the BRZ have the asymmetrical all-wheel drive system. There's nothing to do except this X drive mode, which is a button that I will press, but other than that, it just is, and it's on all the time, so it is a permanent all-wheel drive system. Now, Subaru's owners take their vehicles off-road more than any other brand, which is hard to believe, including Jeep. But I have seen a lot of Subarus out here that have been off-road, so it's a common thing. This is wearing 20-inch rims, and not really conducive to too much off-roading, but we're going to do it anyway. But they're not bad. Decent all-season tires on it. They're soaking most of this up. Alright, so we are jumping back onto some paved road here. A little smoother and less noise. Now, put your foot down. It sounds like a CVT, but it is trying to make itself known as it's changing gears, which is kind of nice. Body stays decently flat. It rolls a little bit in these turns. A little bit of an abrupt change there at lower speed as I came out of that bend. But its chassis control is pretty decent. You can't really go too fast into these bends, but it isn't bad. I mean, if you were looking into like a Mazda, that definitely would be a better handling vehicle than something like this. But it doesn't feel as big and bulky as, say, an Atlas. And I think it could, that's a good thing. But then that car is huge, and you know, if you need that kind of space, then get an Atlas. But this, pretty good. So you can hear it pretending to change gear, but it almost works. It's so close to being actually pretty decent, but it's just a little bit annoying at certain speeds. Okay, so first off-road test is a fairly rocky uphill incline. Knowing that we've only have 8.7 inches of ground clearance, I'm going to take it pretty easy. My spotter that's normally with me is not here today. I have it in X mode. So it's remapped the throttle, it's less jerky. We are on regular road tires, 20-inch rims. Let's see how this Onyx goes up here. So far, so good. These are some pretty nasty rocks under the car. But the Subaru is doing a pretty good job. A little bit of a scrabble there, but it's up. Look at that. Okay. So even a Subaru Ascent on 20-inch rims doesn't have much of a problem in going up that rocky incline. So we'll go up here a little bit, we'll just turn around and come back down and see how it handles that. Now it does have hill descent control in this X mode. So let's see how that works. So it is controlling its speed with hill descent right here. And we are making our way down here. Take it a little easy here. Yeah. So speed is being controlled by the hill descent control. It's a silent system, unlike some of the like Toyota's system is very, very noisy. And this is a really quite a rocky bit here as we go down. All right, so we've got one more test to do, which is kind of a little bit of a steep incline. It'll test traction, which I'm slightly worried about with these tires. It'll also test how much ground clearance it has going over the top of this really short incline, but it's a little technical, so let's see how it does. All right, let's engage X mode. So I'm slightly worried about this rock here. Let's see how we do here. Waiting for the scrapes. Oh, I think the back wheel is slightly off the ground here. Well, we may have got one wheel up in the air, But this Subaru passed that test. Well done, Subaru. So even when they make a family-oriented 3-row, they don't skip on being able to, or they don't skip on making it pretty decent off-road as well. So what do we think? Well, the Subaru Ascent is a very, very practical 3-row SUV, crossover, whatever you want to call it. I like it. I like the way it drives. The transmission's not my favorite. It tries to be an 8-speed, but it can't quite be an 8-speed, so there's definitely elements of CVT in there. Apart from that, I really like the car. It's super practical. It does pretty decently well off-road, and really can't say enough about this. There are many choices out there, so do your shopping and see what you think. If anybody has one out there, let me know. Meanwhile, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time with another video.